I'm here with the one and only Joey Finner. How's it going, man?
It is going great, and you're
Like my
right, the one
cigar
and only.
collection, man.
Hey, I haven't had a cigar in a while.
I got these as a gift for my newborn from
Oh, there you go.
someone. I'm not a cigar aficionado, but I'll smoke one
But
of these
if you
outside.
were, you would smoke those.
I would, but outside, my wife will come in here and like kick me out if I lit it up in here. But how are you doing, man?
I am doing great. Yeah, we're having a nice, interesting start to 2025.
Real estate being affected by all this Trump nonsense?
Uh, kind of, I mean, we're still, hovering around 7%. I mean, there was a month and a half ago where we were like 6.25, which was really nice. I mean, this was probably in February, so a little over
You
a month
think
and
the
a half
Fed
ago.
lowers the rates? There's a lot of people betting on both sides of that one.
Oh man,
That's
they've been
next
trying to
month, right?
lower, yeah, they've been trying to lower the rates for 3 years. And it's been 3 years at 7%, so I'm in real estate, so I've been praying for them to go down, but they're not. I think Trump is trying to do whatever he can.
Fed decision in May on Robinhood, 87 cents to win a dollar, that no change.
I
And
might
then
actually start betting on that, just
11
like the
cents that they
election.
cut 25 basis points. And then 3 cents to win a dollar if they cut more than 25 basis points.
Yeah, I bet they're probably just going to keep it around the same. That's
Yeah.
what keeps happening. They
Well,
keep it
that's what
around the same,
88% think too.
and I mean, I want them to go down, but I think that if even if they go down to 6% flat, I mean, it won't be as big of a boom as 2021, but it's we're going to have assets go up like crazy, and
So can I ask you
multiple
something then?
offers, and oh,
As a
of course you can.
realtor in SoCal, and Chris would be mad at me if I didn't. Can't be with us right now. Okay, but
Yeah.
he specifically said ask these questions. So we had this myth of the Great California Exodus, or maybe it wasn't a myth, maybe it happened, but that was supposed to reduce traffic, reduce real estate prices, supply and demand, right? If that many people left, if that was the narrative, what the hell happened? Because none of that is true. Traffic's worse than ever, right?
Yeah.
Prices are higher than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Rent's high.
Yes. Highest it's ever been.
I mean,
Yeah.
something doesn't add up unless both can happen at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah, I remember, yeah, through, yeah, COVID, yeah, we were worried that, yeah, massive exodus of California. Now, definitely, people definitely did leave,
People left, yeah. But they get
but
replaced fast.
they did, but not, it was a very small portion left. Way less, I think, than we were anticipating. So I think that's one thing. And but I mean, I'm in real estate. I do, like, I just sold a house less than a week ago, and they're moving out of state. So
Oh.
that
Are
happens.
you getting a lot of buyers buying in California that are moving from some other state?
No, it does happen, but no,
Okay.
that's not like the majority. That's the exception.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's usually work related. I got a job here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. When that does happen, it's work, and they're helping out, with the transition, and because, yeah, if you're going from Oregon to California, Southern California, I mean, that's a huge
Or from Oklahoma.
sacrifice.
I
Yeah,
just came back from
exactly.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I
You
went in
sound
there
like it.
thinking, hey, yeah, still,
Oklahoma.
let's buy some property here. It's the cheapest real estate in the country for a reason, guys.
Right, I know. Well,
For a reason.
that's the general, like, location, location, location. There's a reason why there are 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, dollar homes, out there. And it's for a reason. And but I mean, overall, real estate has been steady. This year has been good.
Let me ask
You
you
know,
this
we
then.
Mhm.
Is real estate priced properly in California? Or do you think it's artificially inflated due to low supply?
So I think Chris would call it artificially inflated. I call that this is the market. the market is the market, and the market dictates what things are worth. And if there is low supply, the market is going to adjust the price for that. If there is high supply, the market's going to adjust for that. I wouldn't necessarily think that that's overinflated or underinflated. That's just my personal opinion. I just that's what the market is.
But
Period.
okay, so like, do you think a home in
Would I buy a home today? Yes.
sure, but like let's say compared to a lower cost of living, let's use Texas because you're familiar with that market, right? Do you think a home in Irvine, California is priced appropriately to a home in Plano?
Or maybe a better question would be, is a home in Plano priced fairly as a home in Irvine? Like if they or do they have the
Yes,
same value today in 2025
correct. Is
for
it
what it
worth
is
like the home in
in
Irvine's
each
worth
area?
more, right? But
Of course,
is
yeah.
it worth more?
Or do the values equal? Like
Do
the
the value?
same?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. That's
yeah.
an interesting question. Um,
I know it's a lot of it's
prob pro
subjective because it's where you prefer to live, blah blah blah. But
probably Irvine, I mean, it's more expensive, it's in more demand. So I would say it's the value of the Irvine property is priced higher, and Texas has been like slowing down a little bit. So I mean, I guess you could say if you're looking for an investment property, maybe, I mean, I would still probably, yeah, if I could afford Irvine, I would do that because I just think it's over the next 30 years, the appreciation is
wow.
going to be,
So if you could afford Irvine versus
yeah,
a
I think I
Plano
would.
rental, you would take the Irvine. All things considered
Single
equal.
single family, yes, I would. Yeah, yeah. Right now, no, because I own a good amount in Texas.
Hmm, hmm.
So I would buy where I could start out in, and so if that was Plano, if that was my first property that I like bought, this is exactly what my wife and I did. We
Yeah.
turned the first home we bought in into our rental. And actually, you also that might not have been your first investment one, but you also turned your one that you were living in into an investment property,
Yeah,
right?
and it's been
That's a
one of the
great
best
way to
ones.
get in there. Exactly. That's a great location. I mean, I would probably also buy almost anywhere in Orange County versus Plano
So then this
if
narrative that
if I
like,
had the money. You know what I'm saying? Like if I
yeah,
now I do have the money. Now like even at the time that I could bought when we bought it in Plano, I had the money to buy in California, but I was a little nervous of this COVID forbearance and all that stuff. I wanted the opposite of politics of California, which is Texas. And so I wanted to kind of diversify. But now I
right.
want a little bit more
Which was a good
appreciation
decision
too.
though. It was a good
Oh,
decision
I
because the
ideally I'm
that
never going
one
to sell the Texas
it
stuff.
tripled right since then and
And the rents went up like crazy. I mean, I'm very happy in Texas. I'll continue
but
buying in Texas.
5 years later, all right, we didn't make a mistake. That was good. Very good. We couldn't have asked for better. But rental rates are slowing down there. You said it. And in
Yeah,
California, there's no sign of slowing down.
that
It
is
may not have
true.
appreciated as crazy, but you still had appreciation here.
Yes. Yeah, that is
And
true.
there's still no sign of slowing down, whereas Texas seemed to have been a
Yeah,
flash in the pan and like maybe still some promise, but
for
California is
sure there
just
is. Yeah.
consistently,
We're
regardless of
make we're
politics.
making right. No, no, for sure. We're not even talking about politics, but we are making more money in Texas on a monthly basis.
Mhm.
But but you know, no one's going to touch California appreciation, especially Orange
Over the
County
long
or,
term.
or exactly.
Yeah.
You're not. We've definitely had
You
appreciation
might
in
beat it over the
Texas.
short term, but I think this
I
5 year window was like picking
mhm.
California at its worst and analyzing
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
as opposed to if you open that window now 20 years, you can see like a more realistic comparison
Yeah,
between,
I mean, again, I would not have changed our decision
yeah,
because,
yeah.
I mean, in Texas, if I get a bad tenant, I can get them out like that. In
California
California,
harder.
you have to have deep pockets for, that. You don't have to, but if you get like a professional tenant that's trying to game the system, I mean, that really could set you back,
How can you weed those
So
people out? Yeah, I think you and I did a good job in my place,
yeah.
but what
Yeah, I
are
mean, you
some,
really got to, I mean, you can try to really weed them out, but they still get in there. But, I mean, what we do is, we run their credit. we do a criminal and an eviction background check. We get pay 2 to 3 months of pay stubs and bank statements. We also verify that they work where they're claiming. I mean, I've had people
Yeah.
forge pay stubs.
We had one guy apply that we were like, wait, this is not
Yeah,
adding up, remember?
right, right.
The older
You
dude,
know it.
something wasn't adding up.
Yeah, and then yes, yeah, and then I always verify the money that they're saying on the pay stub is the exact amount that's deposited into their bank statement. That's an because it can be hard to manipulate
Ah,
those two, but so yeah, so you can do that. You call their
wise man.
work. Yeah, thank you. Tell Chris that.
Man, you saved me
Uh,
on some potential disaster tenants, and
Fortunately, I've been
we've
doing
been
this, a
blessed with
good
one.
minute. Yeah, and we do have a very, very good tenant there.
Yeah,
So so there is a little bit of an art to it. It's not rocket science. It just,
right.
just takes a little bit of knowing how.
Part EQ,
Um,
part IQ. You kind of have
yep.
to have the stomach for it, right? Like you kind
Yes.
of just gut feel.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, like reading, and
Um,
I'm in sales, reading people. Um, but anyways, but no, I mean, yeah, I still would not have changed what we've done because you know, to me, real estate, I want it to be a little bit like a mutual fund where you have not that I want to own property in every single state, but I have a couple different areas, locations where I buy, and they balance each other out. I have appreciation, I have cash flow. I feel like Texas is cash flow and appreciation. It's less appreciation than California. And then California is mass appreciation, but
the
it's,
part of
it
California
pays to
that's
play.
scary, besides it's hard to separate politics because you're getting into what makes a market good versus bad. And you got a couple of things. You got natural disasters, which insurance companies are, jacking the prices on the premiums. Is that still happening over there?
Yeah, I mean, we still do have insurance issues. I think they're slowly getting better, but
Okay.
and I think they'll get better in the future as it appears like California is maybe taking a step back in the opposite direction. Um, but we've
What do you
had
mean by that?
well, I thought you said not to get into politics.
So you're talking politics there. I see, I see.
Yes, well, because I think in a sense because there's in another perspective that maybe people don't see on the news is that one of the reasons um, why insurance companies have been backing out of California is because the committee for insurance in all of California is raising the standards of coverage of all insurance companies. And so there has been, and as we've seen, I mean, this is just factual, it's been so high that companies have said, well, to offset that, we're just not going to offer insurance there anymore. And so companies have been getting out of California over the last like 3 years.
Is that affecting
S-
any of your deals?
Supply and it's made it harder. I'll come back to that. But
Okay.
what happens is instead of having 30 insurance companies, you have seven or five. What does
Yeah.
that happen to the consumer? The damn
Monopoly
price
pricing.
goes
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this is literally just supply and demand. So this is why we like capitalism is because the more options consumers have, generally it's better for the consumer because people compete, companies compete, and we get to pick either the best price or the best terms or the best value. Not everybody wants the cheapest insurance, but now, I mean, I've had clients have, every year their home insurance doubles. I mean, that's not right. I have had a couple homes to where it's a specific property on a hill or whatnot, and the insurance was like 20 grand, something crazy, 25 grand. And so that has killed a couple, but for most it doesn't. But it's for most, the home insurance now is much more expensive than they were planning on, and they have to now factor that in.
Have you, Peter Thiel kind of made maybe the best case for why there's such appreciation and why it's so unaffordable in California. And it's basically like strict zoning laws and this restricts housing construction, making it difficult to increase supply. Just adding like 10% to a city's population might cause house prices to surge by 50. Wealth transfer. This results in basically a massive wealth transfer from younger working class people to older homeowners and landlords, which therefore exacerbates inequality. You're creating like a system for renters and oligarchs, basically, like the ones that control the land versus the younger generation that can afford, a house, like somebody that just graduated from college. I mean, they're not buying in SoCal unless their parents help them,
Very
right?
true. Yeah.
And that's so far been the best theory I've seen, or the best explanation when it comes to like price inelasticity. And
I mean, in California, I mean, I tend to see it's supply and demand in
yeah,
any different in every market. So I would probably maybe disagree a little bit with that and say when supply low, demand is extremely high. And the thing with Southern California is we've ran out of land,
just
and
got to keep
where
going
people
east,
are,
right? Like desert.
and they are,
Yeah,
but it's making where people want to be
the
more
coast.
expensive
Yeah.
more expensive,
Huh.
right? Because you're barely building anything, you know what I'm saying? And already, California, I mean, it has a great product. You know, climate is one of the best in the world. A lot of jobs here. People vacation here. They want to live here. They travel here. There's conferences here. I mean, there's so many Disneyland, all the different things here. Um, Obviously, it's expensive to be here in taxes and regulations and stuff like that. There is stuff to balance that out. But, when you have, like, I just checked this morning, we have 39 homes on the market for sale in Orange County. We've been hovering between 32 to
39?
39.
That's it?
3,900.
Oh,
3,900.
I was
Sorry.
about to say
You're right. I
what?
did say 39.
Holy
Between
shit.
3,200 to 3,900,
Okay.
but we normally have 7,000. So our inventory, and I know a lot of America, their inventory is also a little bit low too, but we're just like very low in a highly demanding area.
Like almost
So
double what is
yeah,
normal.
exactly. We're half, right. Well, we have half the
Yeah.
inventory than we
Yeah.
should,
Yeah.
which therefore, even with 7% rates, is making just the prices, go up. But I mean, there's a lot to that attracts, California. So, there's that of appreciation. But I just think we're running out of land, and the areas that people want to be, there's no more of them. And so it's just going to make Anaheim, Irvine, Lake
Mhm.
Forest, just so you can't build any further back in Lake Forest. It's
It's
built.
done, right? So
They're doing
Shamat,
a
our old
little bit in
stomping
like
ground.
exactly Showmont Circle. Um,
Foothill Ranch.
Shout out
Shout out to
to
Shamat Circle. What about this high density living? Like, I know in Anaheim and Irvine, they got all these converted apartments that become luxury townhomes or luxury apartments, which people pay, by the way, ridiculous amount. And I've stayed in some at these Airbnbs. I think to myself, I would never live here, even if I were young. Like, you don't get bang for buck at these places. And
correct.
Irvine Company owns all those apartments, right? Those luxury apartments.
Yes, yeah, and boy are those expensive, man.
They're
I
expensive
mean,
as fuck, man.
and they're full, by the way. They're full. I mean, you're paying like 4 grand for
So
a
what does
two
that tell
bedroom
you? That
luxury.
right there, though. That tells you there's a demand to live in,
Correct. And why they keep building them.
and
You
I
know what
don't
I'm
get
saying?
it, man. I don't
I
understand.
I don't
That
either. I
doesn't
mean,
make
yeah,
sense with the Exodus narrative. It's not congruent.
yeah.
We don't see people moving in, so like, where the fuck did all these people that said they're gonna leave go?
Well, we no, I am seeing people coming in.
Mm,
Yeah, people.
okay.
I mean, if man, it depends on how
So you're
much you want
saying renters are moving in, maybe?
to. Well,
Because the rental
both. I
market's
mean,
exploding too. Like both homes and like rent and home prices are both increasing, right?
in Southern California, we have a lot of people from all parts of the world. Often, I sell several homes a year to people in China,
Mm.
even. Mexico,
Oh,
parts of Europe, so it's like I mean, really Southern California, just California is like, we have a lot of buyers, even not here, you
hmm.
know. I just sold a house. Well, I sold a home to somebody that I can't say any more than that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah. Anyways,
Another
but
country?
it's common for that to happen. We're not short of buyers, and I like that. If I'm going to invest
Hmm.
somewhere, it's nice to not be short of people willing to buy or rent. And I do think like Texas, like it's a Greater Dallas is huge.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
huge.
it really is huge. Dallas is
I
not
was there
going
last
anywhere.
year. It was,
Yeah,
I think it was last year.
yeah, it's
Or
huge.
2 years ago, my bad. I was there and I actually got to drive around because I've been there before, but just stayed in the hotel at the airport. But this time I actually went to Plano. I went to go see like kind of where our house was. I didn't go to our house, but I went in that area. I went to Frisco, and then I
Oh,
went back
nice.
down to Dallas. We were staying in downtown, and I got a sense of the size. And I only went
Right,
northwest.
right, right.
Yeah, I
I mean,
didn't go
it's
northeast. I didn't go southwest.
yeah. I mean,
It's
it's a
Metroplex.
exactly. And so
But they have
I
no
like that.
shortage of land. They can keep growing. Whereas
Right,
California, you're
right,
just going
right.
up. They're building
Yeah,
more
you're going
like,
more inland. Yeah, I mean, we do have land here because actually, if you look at it on a map, the large majority of California is vacant land,
desert.
or it's farmland, or a mountain.
Hmm.
But it's where people want to be, right? Where do people want to be?
So you're
And
saying despite the political narrative that you may be hearing, boots on the ground, you are right there. You're sitting in Irvine right now. People are still moving. People are still coming there. People are still willing to pay top dollar. And they're laughing when you say totalitarian regime and California and all the names they throw at it. People are still paying
yes.
top dollar to live there, so it can't be that
Yes.
bad.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that that for the most part is correct. Yes. I mean there's definitely no mass exodus here, and properties are selling very quickly. Properties are renting very quickly. It's still I mean it's beautiful today. It's 71
Yeah.
degrees and sunny and blue
Oh,
sky. So it's like you have, but there's pros and cons, to all
of
of that.
course,
But no,
of course.
it's definitely not a depression here for sure.
Yeah, we just gotta dispel these narratives because if to someone that's never been to California recently, all they hear from these podcasters is
Right. Yeah.
California and you go
Right.
to jail for spanking your kids and like,
Yeah.
I mean, people, if it was that bad, why are the rents exploding? Why are people continuing to move there?
Well,
It's
on the other side, I mean, I mean, well, I think you do need to be careful, I mean, because, I mean, people I mean, like with school stuff, and some of this, like, most would agree, like, children and transgender stuff is like, just not a good idea. I would say mo
right.
most would agree.
And I think even the Democrats see that as a
yes,
mistake.
yes,
With Newsom backing, but he's backtracking
correct.
now.
Yeah, but there's stuff in schools today in California, even
Hmm.
very close to where I live, where the teachers or the school does not have to tell you about stuff like that going on in school. And I mean, I know of a very personal example to where the second grade teacher brought in their child that was transitioning to give a speech
You serious?
to second graders,
What city was this?
my
Irvine?
city.
Santa Margarita?
Correct.
You're kidding me, man.
This was 2 years ago, and didn't tell families. They brought in
2 years.
there,
That was
and
peak
then
wokeism, though.
yeah, but second graders. What is that? 7-year olds, 8-year olds,
Yeah.
and then giving a presentation without like. So it's like
Wow.
I would say most people would say, you know what, not my kids. Not my kids. If you want to do
On
that on your
both
own
sides
time,
of the aisle, they're
exactly.
And
Yeah.
at the same time getting rid of AP math because it offends somebody. Like,
Right, right, right.
what are we
Yeah.
doing? What are we
Yeah.
actually doing
So
with?
so there is I California has a lot of shit to work itself out, and because that doesn't excite me. I have kids. Dan, you have a kid and
Yeah,
soon to have, or one day have kids.
yeah,
More than one kid, goodness.
multiple. Yeah,
Um Plural. And so it's like we need to think about that stuff, and so there is definitely a lot of bad to go with it, but there's I'm from out of state, so California is a very convenient lifestyle.
yeah.
There's a reason why people do want to be here, but there is some stuff you need to worry
Well,
about
I guess
for
the
sure.
better question is then, I know you have to go soon, right? Feel free to wrap this up
Yeah,
if you have to,
yeah,
but
like and subscribe.
like, subscribe,
I,
comment, share. Maybe there's something, maybe there's a more precise way to frame my question. Single people seem to be willing to pay, or young couples, or maybe families that are unconventional, no kids or whatever, willing to pay and live in those places, like like a normal family, husband, wife, two kids in their 30s. Are they getting pushed out, or like where are you seeing more of them? Or are you seeing like
yes. Okay,
older,
great
younger?
question, dude. Great
Yeah,
question.
I knew it
And
was more
so
precise. Something was there.
if you don't make good money, they are for sure being pushed out. Because with people like me, who I have two kids, I'm in my 30s,
That's you, yeah.
that you just described me, and we're basically forced to do private school. We're forced to do private school. So, living in Orange County, the price of housing, price of private school, cars, da da da. Unfortunately, you need to make a lot of money to be able to survive like that, and even just to be
So
normal.
from your buyers, are you seeing your what you just described? Young 30s, yuppies, they're called with kids buying in
They
SoCal.
are, yeah, yes, yeah. A lot of my clients are like that, but they either make pretty damn good money,
Mm.
or they're not buying a single family. They're buying like a two-bedroom house, and they're all kind of cramming in there, and
Mm.
that has its place. Sometimes you do need to do that,
Two
but
bedroom slumming it?
because even two bedrooms like 700 grand. I mean,
That's
it's
insane.
not 300 grand here. It's unfortunately,
That's insane.
so
Do you think that
if you
sustains
I
then? Is
I
it
I think
sustainable?
that if you make good money, this is what it's just unfortunate, because it's like, what if you're not an entrepreneur and you wanted to do, like, I mean, there was a period of time before I like figured out that I wanted to do stuff with like business and real estate and entrepreneurship. I thought I was going to be a teacher. I don't know, like, I don't, yeah, unless you're a teacher at a private school, but even then you
No,
actually,
even then.
you don't
Yeah.
make good money at a private school,
You
but you
make
do that so
less
your
and
kids, exactly,
yeah.
you get less, and but then your kids could have access to that. If you make good money, Southern California is a great place to live because you
So
can
then
kind of buy your way out of the bullshit.
So is it fair to say
Excuse
then
me.
that that demo is getting kind of moved away and you have this kind of bifurcation of 50 and up and 20s that are renting and anyone in their 30s, 40s, etc. is either an unconventional family or single or something or just very wealthy?
Oh, are you there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I effed up my
It's
Ethernet
okay.
cable.
No, what I was asking is like especially in like Orange County or SoCal in general. Like you have this bifurcation of 50 and up. They can afford whatever, more or less, if they have a good salary. Maybe their kids are gone. And then you have like the younger, but the younger is like majority are renters, would you say? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
so then the owners are becoming older.
Yes, which is one of the reasons why yeah, one of the reasons why, like, my videos, I'm encouraging to own as early as possible, and you don't have to buy your forever home the first damn home you buy.
Right.
But buy the two-bedroom condo in somewhat of a nice area, and then stair step. That's how you have to do it in Southern California, or in an appreciation market, because then you let the market help you get up there. Or maybe if you have family that can help buy you that $1.2 million entry level single family home, then that's another way to do it too. But that's for most, that's you're on your own. You got to deal with it yourself. And so you in an appreciation market, I would advise to if you don't have the money to buy a single family home, buy somewhere where you can live for 5 years, keep it, and then if you need to sell that and then trade your appreciation up to that small single family. And
But
again, that
keep
might not
working
be
your
the
way
one
up.
which you and then keep working your way up, because that's really the only way to do it here. You can't just like if you lived in Texas and you made decent money, maybe you could go buy a single family home and be very happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
California can't.
Well, I think we'll save it for part two. I know you
Yeah.
gotta run, but everybody go connect with Joey Finro and
A
then like, subscribe, comment, share.
comment
Thank
share.
you, Joey. Catch you later.